Sixth set will be played on Bel'Shir Vestige. Spawning in the top left-hand position as the red Zerg from WOONGJIN stars. His name is Mekia.
His opponent spawns on the bottom right position on the map. His name is Zest, spawning as green Protoss, playing for KT Roaster.
Indeed. Well, this is the last chance for WOONGJIN stars to win this match. If they lose here, then there's no chance of them getting to a victory in the ace. But, you know, it's not a big deal for them. It really isn't. Even if they lose, their mentality is probably not going to be affected too much because they know this wasn't our star-studded cast of normal A-teamers such as SOS, Sulky, and Free. You know, we're sending out a lot of our B-teamers, a lot of our lesser-known players, or people who don't get as much playtime, and, you know, try to allow them to get the wins here and there for us instead.
In fact, for WOONGJIN stars, the past 2 days, they haven't sent out any key player in their matches. In fact, they just want to test who we can send out during the finals and who we should not send out and just make them practice in the practice house for the next season.
Ironically, the players, the other day flying and then light today, you know, the A-teamers are the ones that are getting eliminated when it comes to Pro League recently, but their other players, you know, performing decent overall here. Unfortunately, Hanbin and Hammer, they weren't able to grab their wins. Hammer, though, played an excellent game, like I mentioned, like 10 times, but that's just because I was really impressed in how he played against Flash and traded blows with him for so long.
Yeah, and players like Aria and Bravo just proved to their coaches, saying, you know what, if you send me out for the finals, I am going to win, and I am going to contribute to WOONGJIN stars getting the Vic Pro League trophy on August 3rd.
Yep. Right, well, I mean, it's PvZ. We're seeing very normal standard openings on each end here, so no deviations for now. And I almost expect Zest to have something up his sleeve on this map and for this match here. I feel like he could really pull something, you know, kind of weird and unorthodox out. I got a weird feeling about it. Could be completely wrong and off, but it's just something I'm thinking of.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why Zest is, you know, sometimes scary, because he is unpredictable when it comes to these particular matches. And whenever Zest tries to go for something, if he tries to do it, his opponent usually doesn't scout it, and he has a perfect timing. That's the reason why Zest is a scary player. You don't know what he's going for, and usually it goes unscouted. Now, he is walling off at the natural right now. Does see the 4 Zerglings committed from his opponent, Mekia.
Actually, a little bit odd for Mekia to not go to the Watchtower. Looks like he wants to try to make it to his opponent's space before the cannon finishes. Unfortunately for him, that's simply not going to be the case here, as the cannon finishes up right before the Zerglings get there. And with the probe in between the pylon and gateway there, we have a full wall off from Zest, and the Zerglings will simply do no damage here.
Yeah, and also because of this, he allows his opponent's probe to scout around the map to see if Mekia is taking a 3rd hatchery or not at this point.
Indeed. Good scouting coming from Zest.
Good scouting, but Mekia could have prevented it if he cleared out the Watchtower earlier in the game.
Indeed. Kind of wish he did that. I'm not sure why he opted to just kind of send his lings across the map to do nothing. Alright, Cybernetic score now on the way.
So far, we don't know what Zest is going to go for. He can go for the Stargate, he can try to go for the Robo and finish the game early with the Immortal Sentry push, but we still have to wait and see what his game plan is today.
He's placing a pylon towards the back end of his base there. That indicates they could try to hide some tech. May just put the starport back there, Stargate. Let's see what he plans on doing.
Yeah, so the safest opening is the Stargate in this particular matchup. He is chrono boosting out the Stalker, however.
Yeah, he is getting the Stargate as well. Okay, so chrono boosting out the Stalker. You know, we could see him try to apply a little bit of pressure on this 3rd base here. Doesn't want to let Mekia drone up too much in this scenario. And we do see Mekia grabbing his gas around the normal timings as well. So nothing crazy going on there. Yeah, the thing is, if you open up with Forge against a Zerg player, pretty much the Zerg can't punish that no matter what, so they just opt to go for a standard game and, you know, get the 3rd base up fast and just focus on their economy. And that leaves both ends of the map and the players kind of, you know, more focused towards a macro game, and you don't really see a lot of all-ins coming in after that.
Yeah, so Zest's Stargate is going to finish inside the main base, and he's just going to start chrono-basing out Phoenixes to make sure he can clear out the Overlords inside the main base, and one lingering around at the natural.
Indeed. Overlord does scout the Stargate as well, very fast here, so Mekia is going to be entirely prepared for the harassment coming from Zest.
Now he is taking 2 additional gateways inside the main base. Also shows it to Mekia. But we're going to have to see if he wants to take a third base behind this, you know, while getting the Robo, or he's going to do something else. We do have a Robo going up. +1 is already out on the way for our Protoss player Zest, as Mekia, his lair is halfway done.
Everything looking pretty darn standard on each end here. This is why I like the gateway openings. They're a little bit less predictable, and you can see cooler things come out from them. But the Forge still, overall as a build, definitely a great go-to build.
Yeah, and with Zest just getting up to 3 Phoenixes and getting a 4th one right now, seems like he wants some map control, making sure that his opponent's Overlords does not scout the third base and does not gain a complete map control when he starts to take the third base over there.
Alright, we got the Militia Corps out now. Gonna just move around the map a little bit here. Gonna probably try to see if there's any Zerglings at that third. Still a few more Phoenix in production here. Looks like he's going to go up to 5 total. Getting the Observer out as well. Going to do a little bit of scouting. We do have an Overlord, though, that has managed to escape the clutches of the Phoenix over here. And that's going to be able to scout a lot of crucial information. And notice the lack of a third at this point in the game, so it'll be a little bit later on. But still, you know, perfectly fine. And you can potentially see more of the composition and overall game plan from Zest, such as the Robotics Bay.
Yeah, he needs a Robo Bay to finish up, but Zest... Mekia, he's already prepared right now. He's getting the Roaches, he's getting the Hydras out for the mid-game Roach Hydra composition that he wants to go for. So now, Mekia sees that there's no early dirt from his opponent. He sees a regular attack. He must be feeling pretty safe, telling himself, you know what, Zest is not going for anything crazy this time around.
Alright, yeah, Zest grabbing his third base at this point. We also have a lot of Hydras in production from Mekia here. There's a possibility he could try to go for a timing attack. And this Overseer going to get picked off. Nice job. The Phoenix, they spot the Hydras as well. It's very important from the Zest side of the map as he sees that.
So now we have the first Colossus being built, but it's really up to Zest to defend against the pressure from his opponent. What Mekia wants to do right now, apply some pressure with the Hydras, possibly with some Roaches behind this, but the main goal is try to cancel the third base while getting his own 4th base up.
I actually really like that Mekia is taking such an aggressive 4th base in this position here, because it's at a weird point in the game where Zest, he has to be on the defensive, and he can't really, you know, use his Phoenix to, of course, pick out that 4th base. So he's going to be relatively safe in grabbing that unless there is some type of, you know, Warp Prism or Proxy Pylon around the map.
Yeah, but right now, Zest, he's only committing to the Colossus, knowing that he needs to squeeze those units out to defend against the Hydras and the Zerglings over here. So he does spot it once again with the Phoenixes. The third Nexus does finish, but does he have enough units back at home to defend against a possible attack from Mekia?
Well, if this 4 gateway is almost complete, we could see him get enough units out in time to defend here. Just mustering up enough forces. And Mekia, is he going to commit to the attack here? It looks like it. He's moving his forces across the map. No! Going to swing them around. At least the Hydras can't decide exactly what he wants to do with it yet. And we have a lot of Corruptors, I think up to 8 now in production here. Realizing the Phoenix count's still very high, he can't go into that Muta tech switch.
Yeah, and Mekia's applying a nice pressure over here, saying, you know what, I can attack into your third base anytime I want to. But he doesn't really want to attack into this position with the number of sentries and the Colossus, so he's just applying pressure but not actually engaging. This scares Zest a little bit. He knows that the units are in this position, but he doesn't know when the attack is going to come.
Overall, Mekia playing pretty solid this game, I have to say. I can't really find, you know, too many issues in this play here, but at the same time, Zest not doing anything on it either. It's just they have both kind of committed to the macro play, and they've realized, all right, well, I can't really attack my opponent here. He's got too much, and yeah, so it's just turning out to be kind of more of a passive game, despite Mekia's attempts to make it not so.
Mekia's committing a lot more into Zerglings right now. I'd like to see him get an Infestation Pit and trying to go for a little bit faster hive, knowing that Zest is on the defensive right now. But he does have a lot of Corruptor count, and remember, Zest only has 1 Colossus in his army.
Well, the Sentry count, though, is pretty solid there. The Colossi die almost instantly here, but I mean, just the overall ground army is still pretty good from Zest here, and the Hydras are just getting force field off here, and the Zealots, Stalkers, and the Immortals even doing a great job at defending against this attack here. Mekia, though, still picking off a good amount of units. Remember, the Colossus have died, but really there wasn't too many Colossus there in the first place, and Many sentries remain. The blink is now completed. +2 almost done. And we have a War Prism and additional gateways on the way. I think Zest may be gearing up for a very strong gateway push.
Well, he can do so right now. He sees the unit composition. He also knows that those corruptors in the mix are useless. We do have the Locust upgrade starting for Mekia, but if Zest can hit a timing attack before the Locust upgrade finish, before the Swarmos come out, he can take out the fort base easily, but there is a Zergling run-by going towards the third base.
So it's going to be up to Zest to defend the Zergling run-by while also attacking this additional expansion here. That's a very high amount of Zerglings here. Are they going to get us around on the cannon or the Nexus here? We need to have the Zealot warp in. The probes have to be pulled off the mineral line now. The Zealots being warped in at the same time. Zest, he's going to move forward, press the attack, not even caring. Oh, he is going to move towards the fourth, and the Zerglings forced to run away and defend here. Zest, though, not committing to the attack here. He wants to make sure that he can, you know, do this perfectly.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get surrounded from both sides with some of the units. That's the reason why he's being really careful right now, and he wants to take out those pesky Zerglings that's trying to surround his main army.
Still, though, I feel like Zest may have lost his timing window here. He's got a good amount of forces, but he got everything he was ready, and he did nothing with it, which now puts him in an awkward position. I would like to see double robo from him, because this is a basically soon-to-be maxed out Zerg army on Ling, Cry, Hydra Corruptor with the Swarm Host support behind it, and just simple gateway units are not going to deal with that. He needs to get splash units out.
Definitely, as right now we have up to 8 Swarm Hosts out, and once those march down the map, Zest is not going to have any answer unless he get a critical number of Colossus out against his opponent. He did, like you said, he did have a timing window. He could have sent back all of his units back home using the recall or using the Blink Stalkers to take out the fort base and blinking back away from the Zerglings and Hydras, but it seems like Zest did not want to commit in that position.
And, you know, Arya's fourth base has been up for a while, but we haven't actually really seen it utilized too much here, so it's not a big deal that that base has been constructed there. Zest is fine sitting on 3 bases for a little bit longer here. He's going to have to deal with this attack here. The sentries in this army are still pretty impressive here. The Zealots, though, they're going to have to be microed properly around the Blink Stalkers. Here come the Swarm Hosts. This could be the tipping edge here for Mekia, but you know what? Zest is pretty much maxed out himself here. He actually has a very formidable army.
Yeah, so once the head-on battle happens, he needs to make sure this Colossus doesn't die.
No, the +3 is going to get canceled and killed off at this point, but the Swarm Hosts here, is there an Observer here? I don't see any. The Stalkers trying to blink forward here. Corruption going on the Colossi. They're going to get picked up very easily here. Time Warp going down as well on the Locusts, as well as some of the Hydras here. All of the Colossi fall, but the Zerglings are dead. The Hydra count not looking too amazing. The War Prism going to get picked up very fast here as well, but the Observer, I believe, survives, and now the Swarm Hosts are just getting picked off one by one. The Blink Stalkers proven to be a little bit too much for Mekia, as we get a better overall trade for Zest. Now he's going to move across the map. He needs to take out the fourth base.
And this is what happens if you make too many Zerglings and let them alive inside the main base. Zest still needs to be careful. There's an open natural over there, which means those Zerglings can get inside the main base and halt the production of Zest. So Zest, he needs to warp in some Zealots at the third base right now, make a wall at the natural, and go for a counterattack in this timing gap before the Hive is finished.
So Zest still playing a very defensive game here, and the Colossus just getting a lot of free shots on the Lings. It looks like Zest wants to take a fourth expansion over here on the left, and so far, oil and gas really being mined from that fourth base. Now, finally, more drones being sent over there. Once again, Mekia taking a supply lead, 154 to 138. He's also getting the Adrenal Glands upgrade for the Zerglings and making them attack much faster, but, you know, they still only have, they don't have any, you know, attack upgrades. He's only researching the +1 there. The +2 attack is about to finish for the Hydras as well, but I don't know, it's just looking a little weird. The army composition for Mekia is not as great as it could be.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even in the earlier battle, yes, he was maxed out, but a lot of the supply was clogged up into the Zerglings, and once those melted, you see the numbers go down from Mekia's side, as he right now is getting the Greater Spire, yes, but remember, he's still making a lot of Zerglings behind this, which means that if there's a good number of Colossus out, those Zerglings are going to get picked off for free.
Nice job with the Broad Zergling there from Mekia. Going to prevent that fourth base from being completed for just a little bit longer. And we got the double Robo production as well as a Dark Shrine on the way from Zest. Utilizing the additional Colossi as well as Charge and the Dark Templar with that War Prism. could see a big shift in how the game is played later on. Oh,
This
we
is
have
something
Warp
that he
Prism
needs
drop.
right now.
This is what he needs. He needs to go after that Greater Spire and warp in a few units. There he goes, instantly targeting the Spire. Going to be warping in a few more Zealots. Actually, not a few more, a huge force of Zealots. That's a ridiculous number right there. And I guess Zest saying, hey, I have a lot of minerals to throw away here. Loses one of the Zealots in the Warp Prism there, but it's not going to matter. At the same time, moving towards the 4th, it's laid bare. There's not much defenses over here. The Swarm Hosts are moving into position and will burrow, but that 4th base is going to die.
Yeah, those drones running away, and now, well, there's a counterattack happening at the 4th base of Zest right now as the Zerglings take out the Nexus. And actually, it has been cancelled. There is a Zealot warp in, but that's still a lot of Zerglings with nice upgrades in that position.
So now the DTs are starting to be warped in here. The 4th base under construction once again. Zest, you know, still doing a pretty good job at preventing Mekia to get the unit composition he wants here, but we have just more and more Swarm Hosts in production, and they could end up getting to a scary number here. The Dark Templar are moving over, going to force yet another cancel on this expansion, I think. Don't run by. Oh, and Corrupt is cut out of position as well, a few getting picked off by those Blink Stalkers.
And as time goes on, Zest is getting the Storm out, he's getting better upgrades, he's getting a 4th Nexus, and he's getting better guest units. The problem for Mekia's composition is, yes, he is maxed out, but a lot of the supply is tied up into Zerglings right now. Look at the number of Zerglings that you see on the minimap. Those Zerglings should go for the Nexus right now, try to go for the run-by, halt the production facility to buy enough time to get the Brewlords out, to get the Ultras out, to get more Swarm Hosts out, instead of being mixed into the main army.
Indeed. So, oh, we have a potential attack here from Mekia. I'm not sure if this is a great point of engagement. The Colossus count, it needs to be respected. Storm, seconds from completion as well. We have more DTs being warped in. The Storm has completed. And I would like to see a little bit better micro from the DT usage of Zest, but you know, they're still playing a pretty fantastic role here, and this is going to be an amazing engagement for Zest here. Focus firing down the few Corruptors left, now with 4 Colossi in the mix. The Swarm Hosts are going to be much less useful than they were previously. That's a lot of Zerglings that are going to be completely useless against the Storm and Colossi.
Yeah, he's just blinking forward, and even with the number of Hydras and Zerglings, Mekia cannot engage this army. All Zest has to do is start blinking back, using the Colossus to rip apart on the Zerglings and the Storms.
The Storms hitting the Stalkers just as much as the Lings, but GG is called. Zest routing his opponent's army over and over, playing a very just safe defensive style. Eventually, with lots of little minor edges, grabs the victory.
Mekia did a nice job getting the fast 4th base, getting the tech out, but the problem is he got too many Zerglings, and those weren't